Hey dudes, John here. Welcome back to another Minecraft review. Today we're going to be going over the 1.18 update. Caves and Cliffs Part 2. How did we end up here? Let's rewind a bit. From the beginning, this is what we got. Beta 1.19, aka release 1.0. So that was released on November 18th, 2011. It's just 2 weeks over 10 years ago. This game released after beta 10 years and 2 weeks ago. That's insane. Anyways, I didn't even realize that. That's freaking nuts. Anyhow, so this is what they basically launched the game with, all the additions too. They had the enchantment table, they had the end portal, they added the end stone, Nether wart, and a bunch of items into brew. They have the brewing stand here, and they added our very first little villager dude. They also added these 9 records. They also added baby versions of the mobs, the sheep, the cows, the pigs, chickens. Okay, there's baby versions of each one of those. That didn't come into the Xbox until way later, so that was kind of interesting that was already added on. The end dragon, and then they also added magma cubes. Hostile mobs also included the blaze and blaze spawners that are in the Nether fortress as well. Dragon egg that spawns in at the end at the Nether portal, at the end portal, at the end when you kill the Ender dragon. That was introduced in the very first go, as well as our little friends here, the snow golems thing. I also added some biomes, frozen oceans, added frozen rivers, and ice mountains, as well as the mushroom islands, which I showed you the mycelium for earlier, the ice plains, which is just basically a frozen over plain section, and then the end obviously was added in addition to I think the Nether that was already there. And they added hardcore mode into the game for the very first go. That way you can, if you die, that's it. That's the end of the game. And they also included the poem for the little end credits there when you finish with the end, when you have to select to go back to your spawn in the overworld. That's version 1.0. Let's move on to 1.2. 1.2, they introduced a few more blocks. You're going to notice it ramps up after a while, but from the beginning stages, it was just little bits and pieces added on from version to version. And 1.2 is no exception. They added the jungle biome, including the jungle trees, jungle leaves, and jungle saplings. They put the redstone lamps in with redstone torches that'll light them up. You can see the 2 different variations of that, as well as fire chargers. Ocelots were added as well because they were part of the jungle biome. They added a mob for the jungle. They made it where you could place half slabs on the bottom half of blocks. What I mean by that is this is the top half. This is the top half where it's level with the top. You can place it with the bottom half like that. They made a chiseled version of stone block, and they changed the texture for the chiseled sandstone to give it this little creeper hieroglyphic look on its face there, which is pretty cool. Snow golems randomly spawn into villages, and you could generate them by using 4 iron blocks and a jack-o'-lantern head on top in a T pattern, kind of like a cross pattern actually, with a jack-o'-lantern on top there, and it would generate a snow golem to protect you or your village or whatever else it would be. They also added zombie sieges to villages. That's where zombies come in little hordes at nighttime and try to break down doors for villages back then, when doors actually did break, which was interesting. They also added the super useful desert well. Yes, no one asked for that, but it was added back then. They removed camera controls. That was added in snapshot 12W08.08A. I didn't even know they had camera controls, but they removed them. They added F3 to display the biome you're in. Now F3 does a lot more than that, than just the biome you're in. So 1.2 was a mere 3 months later is when they added 1.2. I skipped 1.1 because all they added between 1.2 and 1.1, all they did was add the spawn eggs to a lot of the mobs that exist in the game. Moving on to 1.3, this is when the bonus chest was included. You can select to have a bonus chest turned on, so you can spawn in the world with a chest full of basic goodies and a few torches. Tripwires were a very unique thing. You know, there's a little trigger there. And repeaters, so you could, you know, make a repeating clock or repeating. There's a million things you can do with repeaters. Actually, this is just the most simple of things you can use it for. Sideways logs started spawning into the game at this point. Emeralds were added into the game. An emerald ore to mine a piece of emerald right there, and then 9 of those makes an emerald block. Desert villages were added, as well as desert pyramids, and in the jungles as well. These old cobblestone structures that you find randomly that I haven't found in years. And chests were added, as well as stairs and slabs for all the wood that we had, including sandstone. Golden apples were easy to make at that point, so you don't have to just find them. You can actually make them. Book and quill, so you can write your own book and then you sign it, and that's what a signed book looks like. Once you add information into a book, you sign it, and it looks like an enchanted book. Adventure mode was added, and that's why I added a villager here. Villager trading. We can't trade with him right now because the new villagers don't allow villager trades, but villager trading was added into the game with a really, really rudimentary system of villager trading back then. 1.4 was released October 24th, 2012. This is when command blocks were included in the game. You can do /give player name and command block, and it would give you one of these blocks, and you can control things like day and night and weather and a million other things you can do with the game. Turned out to be one of the most useful blocks added into the game of Minecraft to make custom maps. Invisibility and night vision potions were added, as well as mob heads, including player heads, were added into the game. So you can make things like the Wither boss. Beacons were now a thing because we were able to get another star from the Wither boss after you killed him, and you're able to build yourself a beacon. And you can build this, multiple tiers to get yourself variable strengths and whatnot. From the primary power, you can get yourself speed, haste, resistance, jump boost, and strength, and then you can add a secondary power based on what you wanted to throw in there, and then what tier this was, how tall or how big this pyramid of materials was. Pigs were now rideable. You can slap a saddle on a pig and grab a stick with a carrot and lead it around so you can run around. And carrots were added to the game, as well as potatoes. Wooden buttons were added to the game, where you could now shoot buttons and trigger them, where before you just had to push them. Now you can take a bow and arrow and shoot it, and it would trigger said button. A few new mobs. Bats were included. They showed up in caves, any dark area. That's where you'll see them. And like we said before, where you have to generate this yourself, but you have to get yourself 4 soul sand, 3 wither skulls, and you can make yourself a wither boss. Kill him, and you get a nether star, which is kind of nice. Witches were added, as well as witch huts. And then, of course, the wither skeletons in the nether fortresses. That's where these guys spawn. That's where you got to go and kill them. 1 in 104 will drop one of its heads. Good luck. And I've been using them this entire time, but the item frame was just added in 1.4. Release 1.5, released on March 13th, 2013. Gosh, that seems so long ago. Powered rails and blocks of redstone were added, so you could, power your railways, as well as multiple different carts from the chest, TNT, hopper, and furnace carts were added to the game, not just the regular one that you would ride around in. Daylight sensors, where you can turn them off and on for daylight based on whether there is sun or not. Droppers and comparators were also included, as well as trap chests, where if you open up a trap chest, you can see that it sends a redstone signal. If you put TNT under that, kablooey, and you blow up. Quartz ore in the nether was now available, so you can make these wonderful quartz blocks. And variation levels of snow powder. Basically, it's called snow. It's like a little layer, almost like carpet. And if you stack it up, you can go bam, 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 and bam. And it stacks up to a block height in a total of, I think it's 8 total high. 1.16.1 was released on July 1st, 2013. And this was the introduction to hay bales. We also got various colors of carpet. Basically taking wool and turning it 2 pieces of wool. I think it turns into 3 pieces of carpet. I think that's the case at least. You were also able to take clay now that you can find at the bottom of rivers, throw it into a furnace, get yourself a hardened clay block. Then you can take that hardened clay block and you can stain it. Horses were added as well as horse armor. You can get horse armor in iron, gold, and in diamond, and you found those in various chests. Donkeys and mules were also included at this time, as well as skeleton and zombie horses. Game rule do daylight cycle was added at that point, which is kind of nice. You can keep daylight on like I'm doing right this very moment. Health boost, absorption, saturation were all added effects into the game, as well as a slash spread player and slash play sound were commands that were added. 1.7.2. I actually remember playing this version. I think this is roughly when I started playing Minecraft. This was October 25th, 2013, and they said this is the update that changed the world. It did, because you added a bunch of really cool things, and I'll go over those towards the end there. But first and foremost, we got fish. We got fish. We got a puffer fish. We got salmon, and we got clownfish. This is not a clownfish because we don't have clownfish anymore. They're part of the tropical fish now, but that's what was added, as well as splashing sounds from fish or you jumping into water. We also got stained glass. Look at this. It looked so good. I so remember this. We got stained glass. I remember when this was added, actually, so maybe I played a little bit sooner than this. I think I might have been here. It might have been, yeah, because it was midsummer. That's right. Wow, what I just realized. Anyhow, so yeah, we got stained glass and stained glass panes made for some really colorful things, and you can place these on top of the beacons to change the color of the beacon. Watch this. Check this out. And it changes the color of the beacon. How cool is that? We also got acacia trees at this point. We got acacia logs and the whole acacia thing. What are these called? Acacia wood. They just call it wood. Okay. We also got a dark oak tree with all the woods that coincide. Those were in a roofed forest biome, which just looks like a dark oak biome, and these are in a savanna biome. Both really cool. So we got 2 new biomes at this point. We also got potion of water breathing. To add to the decor of these 2 biomes, we also got packed ice, which is more in the frosted biomes. But we got podzol, we got coarse dirt, and we got red sand. We also got a bunch of flowers to the game. The rose is no longer a rose at this point. It is called a poppy. It's exactly the same flower. Looks no different. Really cool addition to the game. It made everything look so nice. I mean, if you look at this, the decorations in the lands look a lot more realistic. We got more variants of biomes. We also got a biome called the Mesa, which is now called the Badlands. Then we also, like I showed you guys before, we got the Savannah. We got ourselves a sunflower plain. We got ourselves that roof forest I talked about, as well as a birch forest and a flower forest. Now we also got the Taiga, which got these really tall trees, which looks really freaking amazing. And deep oceans, where the ocean floor dropped off to as low as block 30. Then we got hill variations and plateau variations of a lot of these things as well, made for some really cool transitions between biomes, which looked good. And now this is where we started getting names for our updates. Release 1.8. 1.8.9 was actually probably one of my favorites back in the day because it had a lot of mods that were available. But nonetheless, this is called the Bountiful update, which you'll see why it actually is. This was released on September 2nd, 2014. It was almost a year from the previous update. A bunch of new stones to make our caves look a lot nicer, and we got ourselves our ocean monuments. These things were epic, giving us prismarine stones and prismarine shards, as well as the sea lanterns. And then taking that same red sand, we are now able to generate all the variations of sandstone. We also got wet sponges. Slime blocks were added into the game. Slime balls were already there, but slime blocks are added now. And barrier blocks were added. It's a /give command also. Fully customizable banners. All 16 colors dyeable, plus all the variations of whatever you can do. I've seen some super creative things with banners. I just made this really fast. Potion of leaping was added. as well as iron trap doors. Rabbits were added. Hey, rabbits, these guys show up in the desert biomes. Variations of doors, fences, and fence gates were added for every kind of wood that we have in the game now. Armor stands were added, so you can place your armor on something and it looks really nice. And you can do some really custom poses with these. And these wonderful little guys that I absolutely despise and have no idea why they are here, but they're endermites. I guess endermites and silverfish are two things that I really don't understand in the game. Guardians and Elder Guardians are added in the game that show up in the ocean monuments. Spectator mode was just included in the game as well, so you can kind of float around, kind of like I'm doing right now, as a matter of fact. /kill, /TP, /execute, trigger, replace item, block data, entity data. Oh my goodness, so much. Clone, fill, test for block, world border, title, and particle. These were all added so you can modify things through command blocks. This is when combat changed. Release 1.9. This is the combat update. This was February 29th, 2016. First, you can grab a shovel now and you can make yourself paths. Bam, 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 bam. You can make yourself a path out of grass. We also got ourselves a structure block, which essentially is like World Edit. You can copy paste. You can grab 2 points of something and you can copy and paste it. It doesn't work on console. I don't think it's ever worked on console, but it's there as well. I've never tried it on PC, and I'm not going to try it now. End gateways to cities, and the chorus plants with the chorus fruit and the chorus flowers. Yes, they're in the end. They start spawning in randomly on the end islands that are away from the dragon and stone bricks, as well as the end rods, and all variations of purpur. Shulkers also started spawning in. Elytra, now you can fly. A few potions. We got some splash potion of water so you can put out fire. And we got beetroot included in the game, as well as spectral arrows and tipped arrows. And then they also included a shield so you can block yourself from said arrows. A new preset in Superflat called the Void. This is when the attack mechanism changed. That's right. So the swing mechanism had a charge to it. Let me know if you guys think this was better or worse, or would you like it to go back to the way it was? Dual wielding was added, so when you can grab 2 blocks, if I press F, I can have something in this hand and something in this hand, and I can hold 2 blocks of grass. Yes. For the commands, there were so many commands that were added to this version of Minecraft that I can't even list them all. It's literally like 3 pages of commands. I started typing it. I'm like, no. Release 1.10, the Frostburn update, released in June 8th of 2016. Gave us magma blocks, the nether wart block, bone block, and a red version of the nether brick. Polar bears were added. These guys are super cute. They eat raw fish. You got to be really careful because they will destroy you. They hit like a freaking truck. Strays and husks were added into the desert, and fossils were added into the game. You can find them in the deserts, the swamps, and in the hills. I spelled hills wrong, but who cares? And it's basically just different structure-looking things of giant, massive chunks of bone. F3 plus G showed you chunk borders. I can do that now. This right here, this is chunk borders. This was added in 1.10. Beaches were removed in 1.18, and they're returned in 1.10. Ambient sounds were added to the cave. That's where we started getting cave sounds. 1.11, the exploration update. Shulkers you can kill before. Now you can kill them to give you a drop. They give you a drop of a shulker box, and you can take 2 of those and make it with a chest. You can make yourself a shulker box, and you can dye those any color you like. Yay. Observer blocks, so it just observes that there's a change in front of the block, and it would do a function, whatever you had it set to. Mine is really dumb. Yes, llamas. And you can tame them just like horses. You can ride them with nothing in your hand. And once you do tame them, you can throw a carpet on them. I put orange carpet on this one, and they look really cute. I absolutely love them, but be careful. They do spit. Separate spawning was added for zombie villagers at this point. We got Vindicators, these guys here. And then we got ourselves an Evoker. If I go to Survival, he's going to try to attack me with some Vexes, and those are Vexes. He spawns those in, and then he has 1 more attack. That's it right there, and I'm going to go ahead and respawn. And the Evoker, once you kill him, they give you something called a Totem of Undying, and usually an emerald as well. And the vexes, you saw those shoot off from the evoker. These guys are found in a brand new structure called a woodland mansion. The woodland mansion is located in a roofed forest, and I have not seen one in quite a while. So yeah, that's how you get to those. Also some new enchantments, cursing enchantment books, where you can make things, curse of banishment, where things just break randomly, and curse of binding was added into the game. Sleeping, you had to be close to a bed now in order to sleep. You couldn't be far away. And they made it where if you have a dispenser sticking straight up and you put spawn egg inside of it, in survival, and creative obviously, and you click it, it will spawn in whatever mob's in there. That's pretty cute. Farmland now had its own block. And /locate, where you did /locate like this, and it would show you the structure you're looking for, whether it be an igloo or a fortress or an city or whatever it may be. That's how you got to /locate, was from this version. 1.12, the World of Color. World of Color was released in June 7th of 2017, subtitled Java Edition in the title, so you can see where it said Minecraft Java Edition in the title at this point. We got a bunch of different changes in this, including game rule changes, do limit crafting, announce advancements, game loop functions, blah blah blah. Wool got a new texture, all the variations of beds, as well as making them bouncy. This is where they got bouncy. We also got concrete powder, as well as if you put the concrete in water, it turns into concrete itself. So we got all the different super bright colors of concrete. This was that hardened clay. Hardened clay was now renamed to terracotta. When you throw terracotta in a furnace, it glazes it. This is, I think, white terracotta, and you glaze it by throwing it in a furnace, and you put it in a pattern, and it turns into this. And these are all the different variations, different colors of terracotta. They turn into this really cool pattern. Magma block burns indefinitely, just like Netherrack does. And we got the wonderful world of parrots. Now let me just take a break for just a quick second. That was basically all a version of Java before Bedrock existed. Now we switch over. We no longer have the console editions, no longer have the Xbox One edition and the PlayStation and blah, blah, blah. Now it goes strictly into Bedrock for console, and we end up getting the Windows 10 edition as well as version 1.13, which changes the mechanics of Minecraft entirely. Yeah, it was almost until 1.14 before we started seeing mods started coming out for the game. Real mods, not just a handful. But anyway, so we got a few things here. We got kelp that grow in the ocean now. We completely revamped the oceans. The oceans actually looked interesting now. They weren't just look at this. Look at this. I mean, it looks freaking amazing. We got turtles. We got a few fish. We got Turtle Master, which is basically a potion of slowness and resistance. Turtle eggs are up here right now. The turtles are down there. The turtle eggs will give us turtle shoots, also turtles. And then a few shoots will give us a turtle helmet, give you a few seconds of breathing underwater. We got coral, all the beautiful, colorful coral, as well as the fan coral that mounts to the sides of things. Then we got dead versions of it once it leaves water. We also got dolphins, nutless shells you get from fishing or from the drown. The drown are these guys here. They're basically just drowned zombies. You got to kill them. Sometimes they have tridents. They will try to kill you with, and then sometimes they have the nautilus shells that you get. And you can find sunken ships like this. Really freaking cool. They used to be absolutely everywhere. Now they're harder to find, but you get little treasure maps inside of them, so usually in the captain's quarters, and those will lead you to a chest, a treasure. An X marks a spot on a map, and you'll end up finding a chest, and in those chests you usually find a heart of the sea. Heart of the sea will give you this thing called a conduit, which allows you to breathe underwater. I'm in survival, and I can breathe underwater pretty indefinitely because of this guy, as long as I stay within reason. We also got the big chunks of coral blocks making these giant coral reefs. We also got variations of all the different trapdoors for all the different wood that we had and buttons that we got, as well as pressure plates. We got strip logs. By taking an axe and right-clicking a log, it strips the bark off of it and makes it look a little more unique. Soul sand and magma blocks give us little things of shoots of water, some going up and some going down. So we can take this. I can kind of go... I can go Q, and that bounces it up. And I can go Q, and that sucks us straight down. That's a good way to move blocks. We are also now able to flood blocks like stairs and fence posts and slabs and glass and things like that. And the first mob to be voted in is Stinking Phantom that I did not vote for. I don't know who voted for it, but nonetheless, we got a Phantom. Yay, they come out at night if you don't sleep, and they try to swoop down and kill you. When you kill them, they drop these little membranes you can use to fix your elytra or elytra, however you want to pronounce it. Debug sticks, you can do a /give. You can get one of these debug sticks, and all it does is it basically moves the blocks around. Different change its ways. New structures that are found underwater. We got buried treasure, which I showed you guys a little while ago. Underwater ruins, which you can find plenty of treasure in. And coral reefs. Release 1.14 on April 23rd, 2019 was the Village and Pillage update, which was probably one of my favorite updates just after this one. Honestly, it's probably one of my favorite updates because of this. I love lanterns. It was an entire overhaul to villages, and they included something called a pillager outpost, these things right here. These spawn in usually near a village, and they try to raid a village, basically. The way a villager acts change. Now villagers have unique jobs, and each villager has unique trades based on that job. So if there's a bed nearby and a table of their liking, whatever they decide to choose for a job, that is a job they're going to pick. Lecterns gives you a redstone signal as well as telling you what this is. This was an original idea from 2012. It was scrapped and then reintroduced for this version. Looms to make banners now. And then we got crossbows that the pillagers get from the pillager outposts. A bunch of new plants, including berry bushes that the foxes absolutely love to eat. We got pandas in the bamboo forests show up at the end of the jungle, and that's where the pandas will be spawning in. Wandering trader with 2 llamas. This guy, and he usually has 2 of these guys behind him, and he has them on leads usually, and he takes them around, and he's got terrible trades. Stairs and slabs for all these blocks, as well as signs for every color, every type of wood, and the ability to dye them with any kind of dye. So if I take this green dye and I go to this one, I can dye it green with a rose. That'll give you a little bit of damage. And campfires, super handy. They look really good, and you can cook food on them. Barrels instead of just the 2 types of storage now. Oh, yeah, 3 types of storage now. We got a 4th. Leather horse armor, that's dyeable, and you can craft it just by using leather. They could have literally skipped this one. It would have been fine. It's released 1.15 on December 9th of 2019, called the Buzzy Bees update. We got bees. Bees, yay. Don't make them mad, because they'll sting you if you steal their honey. They fill up their little beehive. They spawn in on random trees throughout. To get them not mad, you have to put fire underneath them to smoke them out, to keep them from getting upset. And then you can make things like these honey blocks out of them, which are sticky, and you go down slowly. Sticky situation is actually an advancement. Cool part about it is if you're really big into redstone contraption specifically, if you put a honey block next to a slime block, yeah, they don't stick together. That's really freaking cool. Another one of my absolute favorite updates, release 1.16, the Nether update. June 18th of 2020, smack dab in the middle of freaking COVID, we got this amazing freaking update. This is an absolute full revamp of the Nether. I mean, there was like very little recognizable about it after the fact, other than the fact that it's the Nether. We got soul lanterns, we got soul torches, we got soul fires, we got target blocks, which if you shoot in the center, it gives a higher redstone signal than if you shoot towards the outside. We got all the different crimson blocks, super fantastical looking. I mean, look at this, it's got motion in it. We got all these warped blocks, as well as some motion, the shroom lights, and all the variations of doors and whatnot you can make out of each one of them. We also got basalt. We got blackstone, we got gilded blackstone, ancient debris, which you find in the Nether to get yourself some netherite scrap, to make yourself netherite ingots. You can make yourself netherite blocks, and you can make yourself some netherite armor and weapons. And these are more overpowered than your diamond stuff. So now we got something a little more powerful. It was just absolutely amazing to see a new armor and weapons set of things coming out. Lodestone, you can take your compass and you can right click it on a lodestone and it will always point to that lodestone. It's almost like a waypoint. We got new variations of nether brick, cracked and chiseled, as well as some chain, which chain matches our lanterns really, really well. Some new mobs. You got a strider, which you could ride. You can put a saddle on it and you can ride it across lava, and they're pretty fast actually. We have piglins, which are these little dudes, and you can trade with them with gold, but they die in the overworld. They're shaking, as you can see, is shaking a little bit. They don't last very long. And we got piglin brutes, which are these dudes. I can change to survival. They want to kill me. These guys guard the thing called bastions, and I'll show you guys those in just a second. And these guys will turn into zombied pigmen, and they're no longer pigmen. Pigments have been replaced. Anyway, so he turns into a zombied hoglin. He doesn't survive in the overworld either. And this is the Nether. Absolutely gorgeous. Even the air, even the sky is different from biome to biome. We have these things called bastion remnants. We have basalt pillars. Huge fungi. And nether fossils. And we get these ruined nether portals that spawn in the overworld. I think I've seen them in the nether as well, but this is where it's kind of unique because you find a bunch of nether items, including a block of gold and usually some kind of gold and other random items in a chest nearby. And we got a new music disc from Lena Rain called Pigstone. And just recently, June of this year, June 8th of 2021, we got release 1.17, the Caves and Cliffs update, part 1. But nonetheless, we got a really cool update. I mean, look at this. The amount of things they added into the game was insane. I don't even know where to start. I mean, we changed our ore, so when you mine ore, like copper and gold and iron, you get these little raw ore. And you got to take those and cook them to get yourself ingots. Blast furnace will give you more. Anyway, so you can get more drops of iron per block, more drops of copper, more drops of gold. So you can get more ingots than one per block, a little more than usual. Amethyst, these are giant geodes that are underground. Glowy things. We got glow squid. That is a glow squid. That was also voted into the game. Not a big fan of the glow squid, but I'm a fan of the what came of it. I'll show you what I mean by that in just a second. We got snow that you can fall through and you can freeze in, freeze to death in. You can take the honeycomb and make candles out of it, and you can dye the candles in any color you want. You can stack them up to stacks of 4, and then you can take that glow squid ink, whatever from the glow squids, and you can make signs glow now. You can make the text glow. You can dye them and then make them glow, and they look fantastic. Goats up in the mountains, and the mountains look really freaking amazing now. Tinted glass, a bunch of the deep slate variations, and then you have yourself some calcite and some tuft, and then you got we got new textures for all of our ore, as well as a deep slate variation of every single one. And then you can take those copper ore, you can do all that copper, and you can make yourself copper blocks, and it looks really freaking cool, very steampunk-esque. And you can take your honeycomb and you can wax your copper block. You can unwax it, and then you can re-wax it, and there you go. How exciting. So it doesn't change color. That's why you wax it. Then you can cut it, make this. It looks really cool. Then you can make, we also get lightning rods. Lightning hits these specifically versus anything else. Doesn't catch your house on fire. And then a bunch of other cool little blocks like spikes and these azalea plants. Just more decorative stuff to add to the game. Spyglass you can use so you can view. It's like holding down C in Optifine. Oh, there's that nether portal, as well as some new commands and some new game rule commands. And new biomes that they added are the dripstone caves, which are these little drip stalactites, stalagmites, and lush caves. Not very lush in 1.17. They get more lush in the next version. And the new version that just released, Caves and Cliffs Part 2, version 1.18, was released on November 30th, 2021. And let's go ahead and step inside to this amazing update. Yeah, that's it. So, what we got was new cave generations below 0 from 0 to negative 59, and a lot of them are what they're calling noodle caves because they're something. I can actually go into spectate and show you right now. These are the noodle caves because they look like a bunch of noodles. We got some new biomes. We got the meadows. We got the grove. Snowy slopes. Jagged peaks. Frozen peaks. And stony peaks. And then the one item we got in the game, the new music disc called The Other Side, also by Lena Rain. Or Lena Rain? Lena Rain. And that's it, guys. That is all they added to 1.18. Not a whole lot to be excited about, to be honest, but nonetheless, I guess we got our caves that were already in the game in 1.17, but they removed them and put them back in a part 2, I guess. So if you guys did enjoy this little flashback to the past, please let me know which version was your absolute favorite, or which bits and pieces of different versions were your favorite. And if you guys are at all new to this channel, you guys could click that subscribe button. It's greatly appreciated. It's free to do, and you can unsubscribe at any given time. It really helps us out. We're really trying to get this channel moving and noticed by the algorithm. So yeah, till next time, guys. See ya.